Greetings, buenos dias. My name is Melissa Mahoney. I'm the Executive Director of the Monterey Bay Fisheries Trust. And I'm so honored to be part of this conference happening in Manzanillo this week. I'm so sorry that I couldn't be there in person, but I'm glad that I could send this presentation by video, and I look forward to the live Q&A right after. So a little bit about me and what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the Fisheries Trust, how we came to be, what we do. But first, I wanted to make sure you all knew where the Monterey Bay is. It's up in north central California, as you can see here on the map, just over 3,000 kilometers as the crow flies away from where you sit in Manzanillo. We have an amazing ecosystem of the Monterey Bay, next slide, that consists of three main harbor points for our fisheries. The northernmost being the city of Santa Cruz, which hosts mostly small boat fishermen. And then in the middle of the bay, there is Moss Landing, which traditionally has been the largest commercial offloading center and is closest to the Monterey submarine canyon that you can see there on the map. And then further south is Monterey, the city of Monterey, which was the initial capital of California when California was first getting started, and has historically been the center of sardine and wetfish fisheries, and has a very long fishing history and culture across lots of different ethnic groups, starting with the first indigenous peoples who lived in our area. And I want to just honor and respect those, the Esalen and Selenian peoples who were the original caretakers and stewards of the Monterey Bay. So how was the trust formed? I want to tell you a little bit about our origin story. So about 9 years ago, one of our most important fisheries on the West Coast is the groundfish trawl fishery. And groundfish simply means the fish on or near the bottom. So we have lots of species of rockfish and flatfish or sole that make up this fishery. It's a year-round fishery, lots of medium and large size vessels, keeping the lights on, infrastructure going. And that fishery collapsed in the early 2000s and had a long period of rebuilding. And in 2014, the fishing rights had been allocated to each permit holder. And those fishing rights that had historically been centered in Monterey there was a threat of consolidation, and that those fishing rights would leave. And so several leaders in the community, the city, the harbor master, fishermen, and nonprofit groups got together and founded an entity that would hold these fishing rights securely in trust for the community. And so that's exactly why we are called the Monterey Bay Fisheries Trust. We hold these fishing assets in order to lease them out and hopefully to revitalize the West Coast groundfish fishery out of our area. But over the last several years, we have also expanded our service in support of the entire fishing community. We have multiple other types of fisheries and challenges going on. So our initiatives have expanded, and I am going to tell you a little bit more about that. Before I go there, I want to speak to some of the challenges that fishermen in our area have and continue to face, and I imagine they might be similar to some of your communities as well. So, here on the slide are categories of the different challenges, but some of the biggest challenges right now, obviously with inflation, it's always expenses. The operating costs of the fishermen continue to rise and outpace the price that they receive for their fish. So expenses are a big problem. I think they're a problem all around the world. Secondly, competition with other types of fish namely imported seafood that is often cheaper than locally caught fish because of the high cost of regulations and monitoring of our fisheries. So our fishermen struggle to differentiate their seafood in the marketplace, and a lot of American consumers really base their choices on price. So getting back that awareness about choosing local is a big part of our effort. Another big challenge that has happened over the last 20 years in California and really across the US is a loss of fishing infrastructure and the working waterfront. It's been lost due to the loss of fishing activity that has happened in our area over time. Some of that loss of activity was warranted. There was overfishing in the late 90s. But some of that loss is due to gentrification of the waterfront and other factors. It's very difficult now with lower fishing activity for the cities and the governments and fishing businesses to make those significant investments in infrastructure like ice house and hoist and fuel docks, and those have been lost over time. So we kind of have this chicken and egg problem. I'm not sure if that translates to Spanish, but where you need the infrastructure to land the fish and generate activity, but the problem is you need the market to generate the investment in the infrastructure. So we've been struggling with what needs to happen first for some time, and we continue to try and meet that challenge. The last challenge, as I alluded to before, is around access. So this is both fishing rights for at least for the groundfish catch share fishery. This is the obtaining the fishing quota that allows someone to go out and catch those pounds of fish. But there are also access issues around the fishing grounds. Many of the fishing grounds have been closed off to protect habitat, and some of those grounds have not been returned. We have limited entry on all of our fisheries now except for one, and so the cost of getting into a limited access fishery is very high, and so access is very constrained for our commercial fishermen now. Lastly, a challenge that is very prominent on everyone's mind is climate change and climate disruption. And the state of California is working hard with its agencies and across other states and federally to build climate resilience and adaptation. And so we are also at the local level trying to feed into this process and help our regulators and our state managers understand how climate disruption is impacting fisheries. So we are part of that policy conversation as best we can. Oh, COVID. COVID was such a huge disruptor to every business, every part of the economy, to our organization. And in a little while, towards the end, I'm going to tell you a story that's actually a bright spot about how COVID forced us to adapt and evolve our programs to serve both our community and help our fishermen out. But I couldn't not say something about the pandemic and how we're all coming out of it after 3 to 4 very long years. So our strategic initiatives are these 4 areas. We are looking to grow a local seafood movement. That is first and foremost to educate the public about the bounty of our local seafood, the nutritional value, the low carbon footprint of choosing local food, and the heartwarming feeling of supporting our fishermen and their families who live here locally with us. So we're doing that through a series of events. We do that through a lot of promotion across our website and social media. We write stories. We have stories about our fishermen. And all of this is just to connect connect the public, the residents, and the tourists who come to Monterey Bay to understand more of the human face of our fishing community. And here are a couple of the photos and summaries of some of our fishermen and seafood business owners. And we have short videos and have summaries of them on our website. Our second initiative is to provide our part of this is consumer awareness. So here is a photo of one of the amazing dinners that we held, where we really try and connect people to the tasty local seafood that we offer. Our second initiative is around stakeholder education and engagement. And this is aimed at helping our fishermen understand fisheries science and management so that they can engage in the policy process. We do not intend to be their voice in these forums. We want to empower them to be the leaders because they have the knowledge and the experience themselves. We want to help them get and stay engaged in the management process. So we are a big supporter of a workshop that was just on the previous slide. That's a national workshop that occasionally comes to the West Coast. We work with them to do direct marketing. And here's a photo during COVID times of dock sales where the fishermen could sell directly to the public and realize much more profit that way by selling directly. This wasn't happening as much in the past. So we helped fishermen get the permits and the health and safety permits and the planning together to start to do more dock sales in our harbors. This relates to our third initiative that is really about strengthening the viability and resilience of our local seafood economy. Our businesses, both the harvesters and the businesses on land, which do try and distribute fresh local seafood, and our smaller companies. And the fourth initiative that here's a picture of a meeting that was held a couple years ago between fishermen and leaders in the city of Monterey and the Monterey Bay Aquarium to come to better understanding and actually some healing about some conflict that had occurred in the past between the two entities. So we facilitate meetings with fishermen like this and with our congressmen to make sure that the fishermen have a voice directly with our local leaders. The last initiative I want to tell you about is related to the COVID pandemic. And this program came out of the fact that when COVID hit, our restaurants were closed, the fishermen overnight lost their markets and their cold storage facilities filled up and they had nowhere for the fish to go. And at the same time, in our area, which is already extremely food insecure, we have 1 in 3 and 1 in 4 people are food insecure in Monterey and Santa Cruz counties. So we quickly pivoted some grant money and we established a program where we would purchase seafood from the fishermen and direct it to food relief organizations. And that program is now coming into its 4th year. And we have now provided over 30,000 seafood meals. And so this is just truly a win-win for our fishermen. Have a new market channel that is local. And we're now working with 5 food relief partners in our area. And what their clients are saying is they love the fresh seafood. It is nutritious, it's healthy, it's available, and we are looking to expand this program. And it came out of the COVID disaster. So sometimes disaster can have bright spots. And that leads me to, I guess, my final question to this forum. What did you hear that resonated with you? What do we have in common? Is it the challenges that I that I shared about our fishing community? Is it some of the approaches that we're using? And I would love, I'd look forward to the live Q&A where we can maybe discuss how your feedback on what we're doing, and together how we can advance the blue economy movement to increase resilience for all of our working waterfronts, all of our coasts, and the ocean waters that we share together. Thank you.